We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and 3 times on the internet on knookmedia.com, serving Richmond, Oakland, and the San Francisco Bay Area. I want to mention one other thing. We do have a incredible event this evening, the Honor Flight Gala. In fact, our guest, Senator Fuller, will be there. And let me grab that phone number real quick in case anybody wants to see about getting tickets at the last minute here. The number to call is, drum roll please.
And it's at the Petroleum Club on the 12th floor, so it'll be a great view too.
Yeah, incredible view. The phone number is 661-221-1819. That's 661-221-1819, and that's going to be this evening. And what we do is we send veterans, right now it's World War II veterans that we're losing at the rate of 900 a day, unfortunately, to Washington to see the monument and also to spend some time with Congressman McCarthy. He's gracious enough to take them around. And that event will be this evening, so please show up if you can. We'll have a great auction there tonight. So, with that, let's go back to talking to State Senator.
And first, Marty, I just want to tell you that I got to meet the honor flight in D.C. 2 weeks ago.
Did you really?
And it was so heartwarming. 19 guys in wheelchairs.
Aww.
And the first time for most of them to get to see like what the results of what they had fought for and done.
Yeah.
And they were just courageous, wonderful, wonderful men.
You know, Gene, that organization has a special part in my heart because I think you know my mom played with Anne Frank as a kid, and my mom and dad are still around. My dad's was a Canadian soldier in World War II and in Korea, and I will probably lose them both this year. They're both in pretty bad shape, but. In fact, it was funny because Lily was saying, well, why don't you take your dad down and take him to D.C.? And I said, well, it's a wonderful idea, but I think he's unfortunately beyond that now. I should have thought of it a couple years ago.
Well, the thing about Honor Flight that's amazing is they've got every detail worked out so that they can get everybody right up front. They can see everything, but they don't have any stairs or any impediment that they just can't do.
Yeah, and they have a chaperone, you know.
They have a guardian that's with them, and it after they left, I was waving goodbye from the Capitol, and I just started crying. I couldn't quit crying. Between my dad and my grandfather and all the people that I know, to see them, they just deserved it so much.
Yes.
And they were so humble and so appreciative of doing it.
Yeah, it's a very gracious generation.
You know, it's also a great event. When they take off from here, we have a good going away party. They introduce every one of them as they're leaving. And when they come back, it's also another great event. The fire department comes out, the police come out, people come out. It's just a lot of fun welcoming them back and waving them away.
And, you know, for a lot of these older men, it's their last trip anywhere.
Yes.
So,
that's what I noticed. Several of them had lost their wives and other things, and now they were rebonding with these guys, and they were talking about their medals that maybe they had never, ever pulled out and showed anyone after all these years.
Right. Question for you on term limits. I know that we talked about that earlier, but why don't we have term limits in the well, first off, do you agree with term limits, or do you think it should be open?
Well, I think we need some term limits. I think people just get tired after they're up there for a while. They just get used to being up there. But I think it's good that we have a balance between having enough time for them to get some experience. I really think we should be limiting like some of the chairs like they do in Congress, so that like the pro tem's office and the speaker, those guys just get so powerful. They have power over everything.
Constant power, as Marty talked about earlier, what happens with power. I think some of these people get some pretty big heads too.
Well, they just have, like, for example, if you're the pro tem or the speaker, and if anyone wants to speak out against something you've done or said, they can take you off your committee permanently. Well, so then you can't speak out against them at all because you have no means to do so. It's just not right.
Well, you went from the supermajority. Democrats had the supermajority in the Senate, I guess, but for some reason, I don't really know what it was, but they lost 3 senators. Can you tell me what the reasons were?
Yes, well, the FBI indicted 2, one for gun trafficking and running.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And another one for taking bribes to have his family hired by the film industry, and he was giving them better legislation on tax credits, and another for lying.
Wasn't the one who was doing the gun running trying to pass bills against that?
He was one of the foremost Second Amendment detractors, trying to pass bills to take guns away from people.
So now they don't have the supermajority. What are they going to do?
Well, the good news is we stopped some bills now because there isn't a supermajority, and both sides now have to work together a little more.
What a refreshing idea. Our in-studio guest
Yeah,
states...
like they have to listen.
Yeah, can you believe that? Yeah. Our in-studio guest, state senator. You can't buy these in the mail. You got to get them form-fitted to get them to work. State Senator Gene Fuller.
State Senator Gene Fuller.
I put emphasis on the wrong syllable. That's what I did. Yes. So speaking of bills, a good segue there for me. You've got a bill that you were talking about during the break.
Yes. I have SB 1090, and there's a movement to change the time of use billing. So it could be very good for us to help our hot climates reduce some of the very high costs at the high end if you're a high user, or it could be very bad for us if it's not done right. So my bill requires them to tell us up front and to study up front what the cost per unit of a kilowatt hour would be as the PUC works to change the pricing on electrical. Because at one point they said, oh, don't worry, because you can opt out. But if you opted out, it actually cost you more than if you stayed in under the old pricing or you got the new pricing. So they were just shifting the cost, and that was wrong.
Does it have a chance?
Well, so far it has a lot of bipartisan support, because inland is where all the hot weather is, and everybody that's inland knows that they're going to get hit with whatever this new pricing is.
You know, Gene, I hate to be negative, but I am sick and tired of all the legislation that you people put out.
Jeez. How do you really feel about it, Clay?
No, really.
Come out of your shell.
There are so many things, so much new legislation every single year. I can't keep up with it. As I said earlier, I'm following 44 bills just in the healthcare industry. They want to control everything that we do in the healthcare industry.
Well, if I could make the other party not put all their bills in, I would. But unfortunately, I can't.
I know.
And I voted many times, 100 times in a day, no. And it doesn't change the bill load. But the good news is you have people up there that hear you and listen to you and vote no to try to push back on those bills. And also, we have a lot of bills. I've authored them myself that get rid of old laws. Unfortunately, most of those don't pass. But kind of government is you either use it or you lose it. And that's kind of where we are. If you want to push back on it, you got to send people up there that will push back. So if you really hate all the laws we're getting, then you have to help us elect more people that would sit up there and not pass all these laws.
Unfortunately, I'm not on the dole, so obviously I'm not going to get anything that I want done.
Not on the dole?
Yeah. No, welfare, unemployment, food stamps.
Oh, I see. Okay. Gene, I wanted to compliment you and Shannon. I mean, Clay and I have been involved in politics a long time, and I have to tell you, you two are the absolute best. I love not only where you stand, but you're accessible, and I hope after your next term is over, you decide to stay in politics, because you're refreshing and knowledgeable, and I wish we had more people like you around. I really, really do.
Thank you, and I'm glad I get regular advice from both of you all the time, because it does help me. And I do have a mirror that I can look into, and it's pretty objective, so thank you.
Yeah, we're full of advice.
Some of it good, some of it not good. We've got about a minute left, and I just wanted to touch on an issue real quick that's been kind of sitting in my craw since yesterday. There is an energy plant in Oregon that is reportedly burning aborted babies from Canada to generate electricity. Yeah. So can you imagine this? We've got aborted babies going into an incinerator to produce energy. Does this remind anybody of another time in history? And the thing that's bothered me the most about this is, where's the outcry? Other than a couple of shows like ours, nobody's talking about this issue, and that's revolting. It's disgusting. So I think this is something that we need to look at, and I think really, there's particular groups. I think the church, if you're Jewish, this is an issue that really should touch your heart. So they put a moratorium on this, but the fact that this is going on in the first place is just totally disgusting. In the United Kingdom, they're actually using aborted babies to heat up a hospital. Is there something wrong with that? So, again, this is something that I think we need to look at as a society. It's just totally wrong.
They don't call them babies, though.
Exactly. We will see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180.